Taiwan in general has a really good mix of like Chinese and Japanese culture. And I would say having lived in Japan my whole life, I really value convenience. Taipei is the city for convenience. There's a ton of convenience stores. There's a ton of great methods of transportation and the yo-yo card. I freaking love the yo-yo card because you can use it to pay for all things, including food, boats, trains, everything. So I feel like that is really the definition of Taipei: convenience, modernization, and food. Something that really surprised me about being in this city though is that you don't actually flush the toilet paper into the toilet. You always put the toilet paper in a bin next to the toilet, which when I first got here, I wasn't sure what the bin was for until I took a peek inside. Another thing that really surprised me is that there are themed 7-Elevens. So in Japan, we have a ton of different 7-Elevens, but in Taiwan, they have like anime themed ones, Mickey Mouse themed ones, and they go pretty full out. So my experience with the Chinese is I actually was born in China. So up until the age of 6 years old, I would hear it here and there, but then I moved to Japan where I started learning English and that became my native language. So actually when coming to LTL, when they asked me what my level was, it was really hard to say. I've never taken any HSK tests and I didn't know what level I was at. So I really appreciated that they had an option to do one-on-one classes because for me, that was a really big thing. I wanted something that could really cater to my level because my level is all over the place. So I wanted to be in an environment where the teacher could really focus on my personal needs. For example, I was taking a look at the HSK textbook and there's some grammars that I could just breeze past, but then there's some in the same book that took a lot longer to get by. So I feel like that one-on-one really helped. And the reason why I actually chose LTL is because I really wanted to learn simplified characters. And I feel like you guys are probably thinking, why did you choose Taiwan? Well, I didn't really want to deal with the VPN or maybe the complications with visa with going to mainland, but I really was passionate about learning simplified. So they had the flexibility of learning one-on-one with a teacher while also learning simplified. So I thought it was great. I will say, when I first came to LTL, I think I started at HSK 3, and this was the first time that I knew what my level was ever. But now I am doing HSK 4, and I've actually already signed up for HSK 3 exam. So I think my recommendation for LTL would just be the fact that I hoped that there would be like some sort of test that would put me into a level. Especially if I were to be in a group class, then that would probably be helpful to know like what exact level you are and have like a test physically show that to you. But in my case, because I'm doing one-on-one, that wasn't really a complication. But yes, again, if you are doing group class, I feel like this would be something that would really help you kind of gauge what level you're at. Aside from that, my recommendations for anybody planning to visit Taipei or just coming to learn Chinese in LTL is know what you want. Because I've actually talked to a lot of people who said either this was, a little bit too intense for me and then they've had it switched over, or they said maybe this isn't enough hours and then they switched over. So I feel like the best way to use your time is to kind of have an idea of what you want before you even get here. Some people take on way too much work because you do get homework, you do learn a lot of words in a day that they don't really have too much time to explore. So if you're kind of wanting a course where you learn for 4 hours, let's say, and then spend the rest of the day exploring Taipei, that's like a good balance. Whereas if you want something more intensive, they do offer that as well. You just have to voice it and know what you want.